Okay, I had no intentions of making a video like this. I had no intentions of reviewing pretty much anything ever. TV, movies, books, games, whatever. Really didn't ever plan on doing a review. However, I have had a recent experience with a Netflix original show that has prompted me to make a review. Just give me a second. Hang on. I'm dying here. Now, normally I would want to do a review if I was going to do such a thing. Be like, oh, hey, this great show. I really liked it. This is altogether a new experience for me. I have never hated a show so much in my entire life as I hated the Netflix original series Another Life. I'm not kidding you. I watched all 10 episodes out of pure hatred for the show. Just seething with hatred. I just watched each episode to see how completely stupid it could get. Okay, I don't want to be a harsh jerk about everything. You know, I'm one of those people that I can enjoy a B movie. I can enjoy schlock. You know, some of my favorite movies are B movies, and I don't expect people to like them like they're high quality things. This show, however, just pushed all my buttons. I'm going to start out by saying some nice things about the show. First of all, I really like the production values in this show. The special effects, costumes, set design, the design of the spaceship in the show, all fantastic. Okay, these were great high quality items. The casting for the show seemed great. We've seen some of these people in other things, and they're good actors. I lay the blame of why this show was so bad solely on the writers. Okay? Now, the other thing I'm going to say that's a nice thing about this show is the main plot point. The overarching story is actually really kind of interesting, and that's what hooked me originally. So it goes something like this. Sorry, I'm trying to keep together and not just go into a foaming rage. The plot line goes like this. Aliens send an artifact to Earth. It's this big giant crystal thing, and we begin studying it. Okay, not an uncommon theme. Great start. A signal is tracked back to another planet, believed to be the homeworld of the people who they're the aliens that sent this artifact. So they decide to send the only faster-than-light ship off to make first contact. Once again, not a bad idea. Great storyline. What starts out as this great, pun intended, down-to-earth storyline, something that could be, you know, just very realistic and gritty, just devolves quickly. Okay? I'm going to go through my criticism of this show as sanely and coherently as I possibly can. I am not kidding you. At some point, I sat here and tried to, like, write out all my criticism. Like, I've been here writing, and I tried multiple times to just, like, make a well-documented list of my grievances of this show. And I can't do it. I can't do it. Okay, I'm going to start out with the fact that one of my things that I really hate in a show is pacing. Okay, there's a certain way that you can pace out a show so that it's enticing, it's thrilling, it hooks you. And then, you know, if you go too slow, people aren't hooked on the show. If you go too fast, though, it just gets to be too much. And it knocks that sort of, like, sense of plausible deniability, or not plausible deniability, but suspension of disbelief. Okay, so that's one thing that you always work with in TV and movies. It's like, You want the audience to be in this world that you're creating. And when you just jam-pack the episodes with so much, it actually works against the show. And that was one of the biggest problems of this show. There is just so much in each and every episode. It got to the point where the last episode, I was yelling at the screen for them to finally come to some kind of resolve. And they barely did it. They barely did it at the end of the episode. They spent the last episode trying to jam more stuff into the show. Okay, it's like going to Build-A-Bear, and I'm going to build a bear. And, like, the employee goes, well, you can, put a little hat on it. You can, give it, its own name. It's got a birth certificate. And there's all these details to make it a really cool bear. And instead, I'm just going to sit there and go, nope, going to keep stuffing it. I'm just going to keep putting stuff in this bear. I'm going to keep stuffing this bear and stuffing and stuffing. Well, you eventually sew it up. You can put a little voice box in there, maybe make it say something, give it little pants or something. Nope. I'm just putting stuffing in this bear. And eventually the seams break and the stuffing flies everywhere. I don't know if that analogy came through. Okay, so I'm going to start out with this. The interpersonal stuff. Okay, I understand, like, using hot button topics is a great way to hook people. Using interpersonal drama is a great way to hook people. But there is such a thing as too much. Okay? If you're just like, oh God, I can't even do this right. This is so hard for me. There's like this way of like, yeah, there can be this hot button topic, right? But it seems like they were just like, let's see how many buttons we can press really quick. It gets to the point where it's like, really? This is what we're doing? Like, there's all this sci-fi world that you've built, but instead, let's focus on the one virgin on the ship losing his virginity in a three-way. Great stuff, guys. Great stuff. I'm not kidding. That was part of the show. And at some point, like, there was this interpersonal drama between the crew members that just became overbearing. And, like, I'm sorry, if you're part of a space program that says, well, we're going to go make first contact with an unknown alien species, and we have one ship to send a crew of people, who should we pick? Well, let's pick the most odd mishmash of dysfunctional people that have a history with each other. That's a great idea. Yeah, let's do that. There's no way that's ever going to fail. I mean, come on. Come on. This show is set in the future. They have to have psychological profiles for people, right? There's no way they're going to send out a spaceship with this many people that have this many problems with each other. It's just not going to happen, okay? It was weird. Okay? Hey, yeah, let's take this dysfunctional broken lady who's part of a scandal and make her the captain of the ship, disposing somebody who we know is kind of a hothead and egotistical maniac, and keep him on the... We got to keep him on the ship. It's like, we can't, displace him and just not have him on the mission. No, we got to have him on the mission. Let's make our choices based on who's the hottest of hotheads, not on are they capable of the job. I gotta move on. While I'm on the topic of choice of people, though, these are quite possibly, and it's not just the spaceship crew, it's also the people on Earth. This is the most impressive collection of very dumb, smart people. Okay? Very dumb, smart people. I say this because these are people that are all holding very important positions, but they make the dumbest of choices at the worst times. constantly and consistently. I mean, there's one point where one of the main characters on Earth is betting information, classified information about the alien artifact. He goes, sure, we'll risk it and we'll bet this on a game of bar trivia. And he's doing this with a woman he hates, who's a YouTube news info guru, and he hates her. But hey, let's go into this bet. Sure. Whoa. I'm sorry, but they just constantly did this throughout the show, where people just make the dumbest of choices. They're supposed to be very smart people. They don't act that way. Okay, and then we can get into like sci-fi elements. This show, not unlike the hot button topic, random press as much as you can kind of thing, it goes into just knocking down every sci-fi trope it can, just like dominoes. Just one ding, 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 ding. We got to get it all. We got to pack as many sci-fi problems into 10 episodes of a show as possible. There are too many. There are too many to list. I will say this. There is this, like, once again, the pacing issue where you want a little reprieve from this. You know, like, oh, there's problems. It would be a boring show if there weren't problems. Okay, you expect that from a sci-fi show, especially on a long journey through space in the very submarine-like atmosphere. It's this enclosed space. Yeah, you want some of the drama of space in there. But man, at some point, I just got a question, like, how unlucky are these people? Was the spaceship built on an Indian graveyard or something like that? I don't understand. Among some of these things, though, I've got this. I've got this written down here, like my two favorites. Okay, there's a whole bunch of, you know, plausible things that, like, you know, in their first episode they're doing a slingshot around the sun. That kind of just tells you right away, like, how bad the sci-fi tropes get. Well, we're gonna slingshot around the sun, man. Like, we haven't experienced that in every single deep space sci-fi show ever. And then I guess the way to break out of it while the ship is malfunctioning is to dive in and, like, ride the curl of a solar flare. I don't know. At some point, this show just kind of, like, brings up all these problems, and the solution is technology is magic. I'm not kidding you. I am not kidding you. There are so many problems that arise where the solution is just this close to being magic. All right? There is these alien mind probe things that get implanted in one of the crew members, right? And it's sort of like the villain of the show. And this alien brain probe sits there and on your brain and controls you and blah, blah, blah. And one of the crew members actually gets attacked by this other crew member who is possessed by this alien technology and becomes brain dead. Okay? So he's brain dead now. The body's still alive, but he's brain dead. They extract the alien technology from the other guy's brain because he commits suicide. Then they take this thing and say, oh, well, maybe we can reprogram it to run the other guy's brain. If it can stimulate brain activity, we can bring him back from brain death by putting this thing in here. And, okay, so we're talking about alien technology never encountered before that is sophisticated enough to plant itself in somebody's brain and override that person at some point, right? Not to mention the fact that little tentacles can be shot out from a person's eyes to, like, absorb information from another person's brain. I don't know. I don't know, man. But, okay, so it's a sophisticated piece of alien tech. And they're talking about, like, taking the software out and putting their own in. And it's like, okay, that actually is kind of a cool concept, right? But you gotta think, like way complicated. And then they've got to put it in somebody else's brain and hope that it works to stimulate that brain dead person's brain so that they can be alive again. Whole bunch of complicated shit. How do they address this? The computer AI on the ship has a holographic projection that just goes like this. And holds it for like 3 seconds. And it's done. And then they put it in his brain and he's back to life. Da, 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 da. I'm not kidding you. This is how this show works. It's just like, oh no, we've got a problem. Technology. Oh, technology? Boop. Technology. Oh, God. While we're on the topic of computer AI, there's this chain reaction of just ridiculous events. So on one of their away missions to an Earth-like planet, they discover... I can't even say it right. They discover weed in space. There's this plant that causes people to be intoxicated, right? Ill-defined what it does. It's just, oh, well, man. So it's space weed. It's space weed. And, of course, somebody has a genius idea. I'm going to take some of this space weed with me. And starts proceeding to vape this stuff. Oh, God. So there's space weed on the ship. Now, the bad guy, our alien probe guy that got taken over, decides to drug the entire crew by making a salad with this space weed as part of the dressing, right? And... drugs everybody up, and they all suddenly realize, like, wow, we're really high on space weed. Okay, so the computer AI, who's infatuated with the captain, is put in charge of this group of very high astronauts, while one guy who didn't eat the salad is flying the ship through dark matter. I'm trying so hard to get through this. And so the computer, then this spaceship's AI decides the best way to bring everybody down is with a dance party. A dance party. Okay, I'm going to try and compose myself a little bit better. Because this is how ridiculous this show gets. So everybody gets high on space weed salad. And this is so hard to get through. Everybody gets high on space weed salad. Then their computer spaceship's AI decides the best idea is to bring everybody down with a dance party. So not only do we have weed in space, we have a dance party in space. And so there's this holographic dance party going on, and everybody's dancing, woo! And there's one guy piloting the ship through dark matter while all this is going on. The captain, who the spaceship's AI is infatuated with, decides, like, I'm gonna go lay down. I think I'm coming down. I'm just gonna get some sleep. Okay? And then the computer's AI is talked into seducing her by our bad guy with the brain bug. Right? So, he begins to seduce her in a holographic form of her husband back on Earth. and they proceed to have sex. Now I gotta think that at some point, if this is how the future is gonna go, there is a pamphlet made about these type of situations. Like, if having sexual relations with coworkers is kind of a no-no, I gotta think screwing the computer's AI is probably on the list of no-nos, okay? Like, there's a workplace video of like, so, you had sex with a spaceship. Well, we've all been there. Like, that's just how this show goes. It's this ridiculous thing on top of ridiculous on top of ridiculous, and it just goes nowhere. It's just a big pile of stupidity. There's only a couple of other things I really gotta hit, because like I keep saying, there's just way too much about this show to talk about. There's just way too much dumb stuff in this show. One of my favorite things, I've got it written down here, and I got to hit these points, because these are my last two big ones. Okay? They have, at the alien artifact, they have this showdown where this guy's going in, guns a-blazing, into this artifact. It doesn't like that, and it sends out this shockwave that knocks them all down, right? Now, at the same time, our main scientist, our husband back at home that we like, has his daughter there at the same time. And of course, as they go in, guns blazing, into this artifact, he's rushing out to it, and so she's rushing out to it, and the shockwave hits them all. Now, the shockwave instantly gives her leukemia. Okay, that's the resolve of it. She has instant leukemia. Instant leukemia. Okay, the reason I mention this, first of all, because that's just goddamn ridiculous. Because, like, that's how the show goes. Like, not only are the solutions just bing, bang, boom, technology, but some of the problems that come around is, like, space leukemia? Bing! You've got leukemia. Just like that. Okay, so this actually leads up to, like, these events that just keep getting wronger and wronger back on Earth. Now, the husband at home, the lead scientist, he does not like this YouTuber news guru lady, right? She divulged some information about her family and traumatized the daughter and stuff like that. They hate each other, right? You know, she ends up getting involved with this whole project, and she's there. She goes into the artifact, gets one of the brain bugs. Then the government decides, like, hey, we're going to dissect her to find out about this alien technology after it set out this deadly wave at us. Sounds right. Sounds like what the government would do. Sounds like what any, reasonable person would do under threat. So they strap her down to a gurney and cart her off. Now, our smart guy, I'm the lead scientist, and I'm a smart guy with a daughter with instant leukemia. He's in a panic because he's got to cure his daughter's leukemia. And so he's going to make a deal with this lady that he hates, who now has the alien brain technology bug in her head. And he proceeds to then make a deal with her. And he goes into the room where she's being kept under armed guards. There's like soldiers and scientists and doctors and politicians. And he goes into the room, and they're all dead. They're all dead, right? And she's like in the corner like, oh, I don't remember what happened. I don't remember what happened. And he's just unfazed by this, like, oh, they're all dead. Well, better make a deal with the brain bug lady YouTuber that I hate. Well, here's my security clearance so you can get the hell out. I hope you'll give me the information to cure my daughter's instant leukemia. Ah, God. It's hilarious and it's aggravating at the same time. She then goes off and, like, makes the announcement to the world, like, on all the screens. How she does this, I don't know. Like, they rushed the end of this show so bad. Like, they just jammed this show full of crap. Okay? Just so full of everything that they could. I think at some point in episode 10, they knew they weren't going to get more episodes. So they just jammed it with as much as they possibly could. And the resolve on it was so rushed. And I gotta say, like, it's just a terrible show. It is a terrible, terrible, terrible show. I don't know what else to add. I will say this. I love Netflix. Okay? I don't want to be, poo-pooing on Netflix too much, but at some point it does become, let's just throw crap at the wall and see what sticks. Like, to me, this show seems like writers got together and pitched the idea of, like, hey, we've got this idea for a science fiction show where this alien artifact comes to Earth and people start studying it and find this signal that leads back to this point in space, and we send a spaceship out to make first contact. And people at Netflix are like, all right, let's greenlight this. Let's go. And then the writers are just like, wait, you bought that? We're doing this? We don't have anything written. Oh, my God, I got to write this. Oh, God. You got 10 episodes of this crap. Each episode is about 45 minutes long. We got space weed, having sex with this holographic computer AI core virgin, losing his virginity in a three-way. Just to give you a taste of how rushed the last episode was. The last episode... Okay, so I mentioned the virgin who loses his virginity in a three-way with another guy and a girl. And so they're having by the way, a very bisexual three-way. Let's make that note. It's not just hey, you go on that end, I'm over here, and we never meet, right? Like, no, it's a very bisexual, we're all high, and somehow we have a bottle of vodka as well. They have this three-way. And then, afterwards, by the way, the other guy in this three-way, he's the one attacked, made brain dead. Then they put the alien bug in his brain, right? And he comes back to life. And it's just like this last-minute tack onto the story. The girl finds out she's pregnant. Now, I'm sorry, this is 48 hours of them having sex? I don't know if technology in the future has gotten that better. That they're just oh, well, we just had sex a couple days ago, at most. I'm pregnant, now we have to decide what to do. I'm done. That's where I gotta tap out here. I'm done. Y'all just decide what you want to do with that mess of me just ranting and foaming at the mouth about this very dumb show. If you want to watch it, if you want to watch it just for hate's sake, if you just want something to hate, to really hate, I highly recommend this show. If you want to actually enjoy something that you're watching, stay far away from this show. It is the worst thing I have seen in such a long time, and it could have been so great. I think that's what makes me so mad, is the main plot, the overarching plot to it could have been just amazing. The production values are amazing on this show. They put an actual budget and an actual cast on this show. The writing biffed it so hard. So hard that I am raging about it on the internet. Moron Artist, signing off. Do with that review whatever you so please. Bye.